our gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we submit ourselves to Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we thank Him that He allowed us to have another time to study the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And actually, it's a great journey that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had granted us to know more about the stories of the prophets and the messengers of Allah. And it is the 11th lecture that we have, alhamdulillah subhanahu wa ta'ala, at the same surah particularly. And I told you that I will pause a little bit through our journey, like we have a train, but that train will have a long stay in that station. And the main issue that we wanted to tackle some of the stories of the prophets and the messengers of Allah to extract the lessons, because actually we're going to lose a lot of the lessons if we passed by the surah just without stopping and at each and every story to learn what Allah actually told us about the previous nations, so we can get the lesson and we will not repeat the same mistakes. So we talked about the story of the nation of Musa alayhi salam, Moses. And then we talked about the story of Sayyidina Ibrahim. We talked about the story of the Prophet Nuh alayhi salam. And who else? That's for today. That's for today. We will talk about the people of Ad. And the people of Ad, Allah had sent to them the Prophet Hud. And the Prophet Hud, you will find his name always related to the people of Thamud and the Prophet Saleh. And there is a reason for that. I wanted to give you a little bit of background, not the details, because what is meant here to know exactly why those people Allah had punished them, why Allah had destroyed them, what was actually their problem, so we can understand and then avoid that mistake. And that was the message from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, telling him that you are not the first one that his people are disobeying his orders, and you have other nations, they lied against those prophets and the messengers. One of the lessons that I wanted you to absorb, actually, you see the pattern in the Quran that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling you that when a certain nation are lying against a prophet, that means they denied the rest of the prophets, right? So what is the reason for that? Because it is the same message. So if they denied one prophet, that means they denied all of them. So what was the same message for all the prophets and the messengers since Allah created Adam till the day of judgment, till the last of the prophets and the messengers, Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? What is the message? Dr. Rahim said, believing in one God. So he said that in Arabic, Tawheed, monotheism, La ilaha illallah, there is no God worthy of our worship except Allah. What else? It is the same meaning, I know, but they used to say, and do not associate any partner with Allah. So submit yourself willingly, purely, completely to the commands of your Creator, and do not associate any partner with Him. That's very simple. From that perspective, we can consider that all the prophets were Muslims. All the messengers were Muslims, because what is Islam? Literally, linguistically, means to submit yourself to the commands of Allah. If that is the case, that's why we said we have two words. I want you to memorize those two words. We have deen. Can you repeat after me? Deen. What's deen? Religion. And then sharia. What is the sharia? The law of Allah, the way of the law, the rules of what to do, what not to do, right? So the deen is one. The deen is one deen. Allah had created Allah had made one religion. But the Sharia, the law, could be different, right? That based on the time, based on the circumstances, based on the capacity of the nation. So Sharia could be different. That's why if we wanted to say how many religions that Allah had sent to the earth, one. And Allah made that clearly in Surah Al-Imran, Inna ad-dina inda Allah al-Islam. The religion is one, and it is on the side of Allah is one, which is Islam, means to submit yourself. That's why from that perspective, Musa was a Muslim, Jesus was Muslim, Hud was Muslim, Noah was Muslim, Adam was Muslim, and all of them were Muslims based on the linguistic meaning of Islam. But the technical meaning of Islam, they weren't. They weren't, right? Because they didn't fast in Ramadan, right? They weren't. But from the linguistic perspective, from the general meaning of, the general definition of Islam, they all were Muslims. And everyone showed the total submission only to one God, to the Creator, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Glory be to Him. That means he is a Muslim. Why I'm bringing that issue? Because the message of Hud, the Prophet Hud, was the same message. But who are Ad? Who are Ad? Ad, you know the flood of Noah, alayhi salam, and the ark. What happened after? Where the ark had stopped. Yes. On the mountain of Al-Judi. So when he gathered almost two of everything of the creation of Allah, and the Prophet Noah had stopped after the flood, after when Allah destroyed the entire earth to save the believers, that ark stopped on the mountain of Al-Judi. Where is the mountain of Al-Judi? In a certain area between Syria and Turkey. Right? So on that area, he landed with the believers, and he had 3 children. You know their names? Sam, Ham, Japheth. Exactly. So Sam started to establish his own family, and he traveled to a certain area, and he started to form the Arabian Peninsula. And then Ham moved to another area, Japheth moved to another area, and that's a long story, but I wanted to run a little bit to go to Sam and his progeny. From Sam, there's somebody was born called Iram. From Iram, somebody called Aus or Aus. And from that Aus, there is a man called Ad. So now you count how many generations after Noah? Generation of Sam, then Iram, then Aus, then we come to Ad. Ad, they were